Hi, Bryce here. Today we're going to take a look at graphs and see how you can make a graph from some of this data, because graphs are one of the most powerful tools for showing information, but they can also be one of the trickiest things to set up in advance, other than maybe a really advanced formula. So let's take a look at this. What I want to graph is my field position over the different plays. So there's a lot of different plays that are going to happen. There's a lot that's going on here. And so what I want to do is graph these things together. So I'm going to select those columns, and so I just click on the H, hold Control, and click on the A. And then I can do Insert, and then I'm going to do a graph. And I like lots of different types of graphs. You can see there's a bunch of different varieties that can show up. You can do that, or you can do scatter plots like this. There's a lot of trends that we can look at. But what I want to do here is maybe think about this in terms of a line graph. And I can see how, look at all these different combos that are happening. So you got to think carefully about what option you want to choose. What is it you're trying to show in your graph? And sometimes they can look really cool, but it doesn't always help what's happening. And there's some interesting patterns for us to look at here. So I'm going to choose this one actually, and then we're going to have to very carefully try and work out what all this means. So you can see Excel tries to get it right, but it doesn't always do a great job. So as I'm looking at this, it says field position up here for the title. So I'll go with field position over plays. And so this is really going to be over the offensive plays. So we'll be able to see sort of like how their drives work. You might be able to visualize it a little bit better with this particular type of graph. So what I want to make sure I do well is come down here at the bottom. There's a few things that I can do. So I'm going to add chart elements. Like what I really want is my axes. I want my horizontal axes. Oh, I want it to be there. First off, I guess I should have left that clicked on. I want the axis title instead. So I want an axis title here, and I can either type it into the box or I'm going to type it up here. The play number in the game. So we know what that is. And then I'm going to add another chart axis title for the vertical. And for this one, I'm going to say the field position at the start of play. So we've got that. We've got a few things that I want to do. Like I don't need to go up to 120 or to well, maybe go to 0, but I definitely don't need to go to -50 for the play number. So I can format this axis by double clicking, and then it brings up this thing over here. And in Google Sheets it'll be a little different, but I'm going to set my minimum to 0. And plays, it doesn't look like I go to 250. I can probably stop it at 200. One of the things that's nice is you want to have your graph be as big as possible. So I'll do that, and my so there's that axis. The major is, maybe I want to do every 20 is fine. Then we'll go with that. And then along here I want to change this. So I'm going to double click on this axis, and I want the options here, axis options. So I want to range from 0 to, I only need to go to 100. And then the major would be 10, the minor would be 2, maybe we do 2.5. Yeah, let's do 2.5. Yeah, we'll do, yeah, let's do 2.5. Trying to decide. So we do this, we show the thing for tick marks. Let's show major. No, we don't need tick marks, but what would be nice is if we could see display units. So there's a lot of things that you can choose. Labels, number, category, general format. So there's a lot of different things that you can see, and if you choose your options, you may be able to do, let's see, fill, shadow, soft edges, whatever. Alright, so I was looking for how to make minor axis lines, but I think this will be enough just to see what's there. I can make this nice and big. Now one of the things that's a little strange is that you can see there's some of these that are bizarre. It should be that I have just one line that goes all the way to the right, but it's definitely in some strange order. So these are all going down along through, and it doesn't quite have a sense for how these things relate to each other, other than they're sequential. But you can see I start at 104, and then I go to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I go back to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that might be what what is being weird here. And so what I'm going to do is actually go back, and now that I have this thing formed, the graph it exists, I'm going to select all my data, and I might make this a table, just because it could help. So format as a table, we'll do this, my table has headers, okay. Now I want to sort my plays smallest to largest. And when I do that, you can see, well, this is interesting, but it may not be really representative of the truth. But what is going on is that you can see it looks like as you go through plays, they sort of have progressions. And so you can see it gets farther, or it gets, they're making advancement across the field, and then it jumps down to the bottom. This is probably when there was a different possession, and so it switched back to wherever they got the ball next. And it jumped over some plays, so that's interesting. These weird double points, it looks like that's strange, but trying to interpret that, maybe this is actually data from a couple games. And so in plays like, 25 or so to 30, they had the field, or they had the ball, they were in different positions along the field. And so it's sort of jumping back and forth, showing me two different games, which isn't immediately useful, but it does kind of play to the cadence of the game, that they had a possession early in a couple of them, and then they lost it. So for, I don't know, you got to interpret this however you want, based on what's there. And there's some interesting things saying that they sat at the 100-yard line for a couple plays, for like 5 plays here. It makes me wonder what's going on. Maybe it would be more useful for me to do a couple of series. So this is tricky. We're gonna have to do more on graph interpretation in a second. All right, see ya.